All right, so negations of quantifiers is what I want to mention to you next here. Words like some, well, none, all. Those are the three we'll mainly hit here. Negating those guys. For example, if I said, all dogs have fleas. What would you say, negation-wise, that would be? What would the negation of that be? All dogs have fleas. Not all dogs have fleas? Well, yeah, I mean, we're not debating on the statement. Just how would you negate it? Not all dogs have fleas. Most people would say, what about no dogs have fleas? Other possibilities, possibly you might be thinking, but well, let's look at a scenario. We'll come back to this. Turns out one of them's right, one of them's wrong, but let's say we've got three groups of people, and I think this is what they go through in the book, but I wanted to go through it with you here just to kind of explain ourselves or explain the reasoning behind it. Let's think about groups of people, and just to pick out a name, think about the names of people being Mary. Okay, let's say let's try to make groups of all scenarios. Group A, well, let's say Group A has all of them named Mary. Mary A, B, and C. Okay. All of them are named Mary. Okay. Group B, let's say, well, one of them's named Mary, but then we have a Jill and a, what would be another one? Barbara. Okay. So some of them are named Mary and some of them are not named Mary. I mean, we could do more than three, but so yeah, that one has some of them are, some of them aren't. And then Group C, what would be one other group we might need to consider? How about all of them are not named Mary, right? Let's say Kathy, Denise, and Evelyn. All right. So that kind of is representative of all possibilities of groups. All right. That could happen associated with the name Mary. Okay. All right. The reason I do that is so we can look at some negation possibilities here, because if I make the all statement, all are named Mary, well, that is certainly true in Group A. So I'm going to do A, B, and C here, truth values. In Group A, that's true, isn't it? All of them are named Mary. But what about Group B? Are all of them named Mary in Group B? No, so that's false. And then all of them are named Mary in Group C, obviously, that's false. Okay? To be a negation then of this, it has to be opposite in all cases. So if I have a negation, what is it going to be across the board here? The negation is going to be false, true, true, isn't it? And if you look at none are named Mary, or no person is named Mary, let's just see if that's a negation. That was one of my, and that's, if I ask this question on the test, I'm going to get, if if I put down the null statement, I'm going to get a no statement. But let's see if it's true, if it's truly a negation. None are named Mary. Are none of them named Mary in group A? Nope, that's false. None of them are named Mary in group B. That's false. None of them are named Mary in group C. No, that's true. Fine. Is it negation? Why not? It's not opposite. It's not opposite in all cases. It's opposite here, but it's not opposite here. That's why we say a negation has to be opposite in every case. If it's not opposite in every case, it's not a true negation, you see. So no, this is not none or no does not negate all. So you just can't change that over to none. Now, it was suggested that we go with not all are named Mary. And let's see what that is. So in group A, not all of them are named Mary. That's false. They all are named Mary. In group B, not all of them are named Mary. That's true, because not all of them are named Mary. In group C, not all of them are named Mary. That's true too. So you notice, yeah, that is a true negation because, get rid of that. You got true, and then you got false for the not all. You got false on all, you got true on not all. False, that one is, yeah, a true negation.
Common, the first, second, or third question doesn't make a difference.
Yes. Yes, it has to be opposite for each column, yeah, in that order.
In that order.
Yep.
You have to do the all and then and not all.
Yes. So back to our original problem, this one is not a negation because no or none, same thing, does not negate all. Not all does negate. So really that gets back to what we were saying. To negate all, just put the word not in front. Best thing to do. Okay, now we're going to kill several birds with one stone here, so to speak. Let's talk about the other quantifiers. Let's look at some are named Mary. So we saw these two are negations. Let's see about some are named Mary. Some are named Mary, all right? So are some of them named Mary on group A? Yeah, some of them are named Mary. Some of them are named Mary in group B. Yeah, there's some of them are. And then some of them are named Mary in group C. No, that's false. Okay. Do you notice here anything about that? Does that negate anything up there? Is that opposite of anything up there? Well, it's not opposite of this one because you got true and true. It's not opposite there. However, look at this. None is false, some is true. None is false, some is true. None is true, some is false. What does that tell you? Well, that's telling us these are negations. There's for every quantifier there's a negation. None is negated by some. None is negated by some. Or no, none or no, okay? Now, so some are named Mary. Is really a tricky one too, because here's the thing, you know, a lot of times we say put in the word not and you'll negate it. Well, let's look at putting in the word not here, because that's a lot of times when I ask it on a test, that's what people want to try. But let's see if that. Let's say I put the word not here. Some are not named Mary. Let's see if that does negate phrase there. Okay, some are not named Mary here. Some of them are not named Mary. False. Some of them are not named Mary in B. That's true. And some of them are not named Mary in C. That's true. Okay? So just looking at these two, are these negations? Nope. Why not? They're not opposite. This one is true, this one is true. They're the same for group B. So they're not opposite in all cases. So, conclusion. Here's kind of the rundown here. All statements, meaning the word all in them, negated by either doing not all, or, and I haven't mentioned this, but yeah, this did not negate some, but do you notice here what it does negate? Notice false, true, true, that's the exact opposite of true, false, false. Opposite in all cases. So it turns out all is negated by some or not, or some do not, or whatever the verb needs to be. Okay, so that not all dogs, all dogs have fleas. Another way you can negate it is by using some dogs do not have fleas. See that? Also negate. That's probably not the way you usually do it, but if that was one of the choices, then that would negate that. All dogs, some do not. That negates all. Like I said, that's probably not the way we usually go with it, but okay. So anyway, all statements are negated either by, not all, or some are not, or some do not, or whatever the verb needs to be. Okay? No statements. How are those negated? Well, we said no statements are negated by what? Some statements. Changing the no to some. No or none. I should. Depends on the phraseology there. If it's a no or if it's a none statement, none of them are named Mary, no dogs have fleas. Let's just do that one. No dogs have fleas. What's the negation? No is negated by some. Some dogs have fleas is the negation. Okay, and then last but not least, some statements be the other scenario, which really the other covers it, but well, some and no are opposites. So to negate some statements, those are negated by no statements. For example, some days are long. What's the negation? Change the no to some. The some to no. Okay. No days are long. That says exactly the opposite. Okay. All right. So anyway, a little tricky on the quantifiers, but try to remember those.